What's up, everybody? I'm here with Kevin Hill from KHill Productions, and he is gracing me with the opportunity of showing us his whole live rig, all the components, what goes into it, and we're just going to take a walk around the stage here at the Kenosha County Fairgrounds, and Kevin's going to show you his rig and all of his stuff, and we're going to just show it all here. So hopefully you enjoy whatever we're about to do.
Sounds great. Thanks, Evan.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, what do we got here?
All right, this is the Soundcraft Vi1. It is their first generation fully digital console. It is stocked with onboard 32 channels, as well as a fully functional remote stage box. In most configurations, we call this a surface, and the actual mixing is taken care of by the stage box that is located on the stage.
What do you like and dislike about this console?
So what I liked about this console is when I first was introduced to digital console, as it's digital in sense, there were a lot of screens and menus you had to go through to get to the dynamic or the feature you wanted to on that console. What I liked most about this particular console is it was laid out in a traditional analog sense. So all the dynamics, all the things that we need to change on the fly as an engineer are presented to me right here on the screen. I don't have to go through any screens, and they're all touch-based. So there's my gain control. Here's how I fade between left and right and how I master sends. Here are my AUX sends or my matrix sends. On top of that is what we call our dynamics. So it's our compressors and our limiters, our de-essers, our gates. This is our multi-band EQ. And then ultimately, that's our gain structure, also how we do assignments. It's fully digital, so I don't manually patch anything. So when I want to set this particular channel to be, say, or this particular strip to be channel 27, I go into the menu and I just select, I want to make that channel 27.
Nice.
So it's pretty flexible, but again, what attracted me to this console over the others, and they're all great, they all have great sounds, they all do great things, but the advantage to me is coming from an old school analog console. This was laid out as a traditional analog console, but in a digital environment.
Nice. Cool.
And that is really why we bought this console. I mean, bottom line, that was it.
Yeah, for sure.
At any time, but that was the reason why we bought it.
No, we're gonna just keep it rolling. This is gonna be all natural here. Nice. Cool. Let's see, what else? I don't know, there's not too much else going on here. You got a CD player under here.
Yes, which is...
That makes it easy.
Kind of on standby right now because everybody's coming in with, streaming something or a fob or so.
Yeah, here's my...
Yeah, exactly.
Here's
so
my dongle.
Inputs, right. So, hardcore hardware software, I can pretty much take that out and...
Let's move on, maybe, unless there's any other notes you have about this. Otherwise, we'll just move on to the...
I think we're good.
Yeah.
You want to do a wide shot of the stage and we talk about...
yeah, show us what's up on the towers here.
Just the good stuff. All right, now comes the fun stuff.
Yeah,
so,
let's go. Let's take a walk up front.
This is our what we call the A rig, or the JBL VerTec 4888. Again, this was the second generation that JBL produced in this series, second series. It's extremely rider friendly. There are three-way cabinets. We use software to help align and make sure we have the curvature appropriately set up based on the size of the venue we're playing. I'm going on probably my 10th year with these cabinets. And in all those 10 years, I think I've had replaced one driver one time. So
nice.
We play all types of venues, outdoors, indoors, covered tents, non-covered venues. They've been rained on, they've been snowed on before. They sit out in the sun, they get baked, and they come in the fall and get a little moisture on them. So these are non-powered cabinets. I'll show you the horsepower in a moment, but these are great sounding cabinets. It's a great PA for the size of venues that we do.
Nice.
And now down below.
Are these ribbon tweeters, or what is
Yes.
the deal with the tweeters?
Yes.
Nice.
All right, so then to make the boom boom a little bit more booming, we have some JBL 828 dual 18 sub cabinets powered by iTech amplifiers. They are run individual, they are not daisy chained together. Each speaker has its own amp channel. again, great sounding speakers. We've done various configurations of splaying them, separating them. And we find that in this environment, to avoid our power alleys, this is our best configuration.
Right.
We've done cardioid subs as well. Not had a whole lot of luck in our typical outdoor environments, but this environment, it works really, really well.
Nice. I think one of the comments we get most when we set all this up and the band shows up is like, holy crap, you guys have a ton of subs.
Well, that's, one of the comments that we get, and we talked about this earlier, is when a band shows up for the first time, they say, wow, they take a look at everything, they see the lights, they see the stage, and all these speakers, they say, wow, we're gonna sound really, really good. And I often caution them, I'm a musician myself, and I caution them and say, well, let's back up a little bit. If you're good, the audience is gonna hear you really, really well. But if you're not so good, they're also gonna hear you really, really well. So that may not be a good thing. So where my PA can't make you sound better, they'll certainly let the audience hear what you sound like. So if you're talented on stage, you're gonna sound great out here.
Sweet. Yeah, this is quite the array. Do you want to take a walk around the back?
Let's do it around the back. Let's show some more fun stuff.
Oh, we can't forget about the front fills, right?
That's true. So these speakers here actually are the first set of speakers I ever purchased. They're EAW LA 215s, if I remember correctly. It's a two-way cabinet, full range two-way cabinet. Does a real great job as a front fill. You can pound on it pretty well, and it's a very durable cabinet. Alrighty. Okay, none of this would work if it wasn't for what we affectionately call ComEd. Here is our three-phase, 300 amp power distribution. Each one of our amp racks and stage boxes has its own 50 amp circuit. None of our gear actually runs three-phase. We just basically have 3 individual legs of 120. Most of my amps run on 120, with the exception of the subs. They do run on 220. A little more fuel efficient. There's an example of one of our stage boxes.
Cool.
We reserve that just for the visiting band. So all of the stage power, both lighting and audio, comes from this. But often we have visiting engineers, visiting bands that have their own rig and need lots of power. So we reserve this panel just for them.
Cool. How nice of you.
Well, you know what? You got to play well together.
Yeah.
So there's our sub amp.
Oh, get in there.
Crown iTech 9000s. We do run the V5 crossover presets built into the amplifiers. Therefore, we don't need an external speaker processor. Everything is contained within.
Nice.
Alrighty, so we talked about our stage box originally, that being the surface up front, and here's our stage box. So there are several versions of this, but this is the Soundcraft stage box with multiple card configurations.
Okay, so you can like swap the single unit pieces around.
Correct.
And
so if you need
configure
more
it.
outputs versus inputs or any combination thereof.
Nice. That's really cool.
Our connection to out front is a Cat 5 cable. You'll see that right here.
Nice.
We don't typically run a redundant. Some people may be yelling at us when I say that, but we're pretty sound and our cable's pretty secure, so
Yeah.
I've never really needed to run a redundant cable.
Nice. What's this here? What's all the color?
So these are the whirlwind, we call them stage drops.
Yeah.
So we have predetermined patch points on the stage. We call it front line and our back line.
Mm-hmm.
So that when a band comes in and plugs in, typically a 5-piece or 4-piece band, their configuration is relatively same, you know, drums, instruments, and vocals up front.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the stage box configured, and I'll show you one of those in a little bit of how we do our snake run. So we're not running individual cables back to here.
Yeah, so
And
usually
these
we
are
have
the
two.
stage drop cables right here.
And these are W1, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
And then it looks
these are
like there's
rolling
two more available
if needed. Yep.
colors if needed. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. And some more power down here, it looks like, for this rack.
Yep. Now we have in the past had a UPS in here. that just front of house and stage box was plugged into. UPS failed last year and I did not replace it. Even though 50% of our jobs are on generator, we're getting pretty stable power these days, so I'm not all concerned about putting the UPS back in, but I do have it and it will be put back in at the end of this season.
There we go.
Now some old school analog equipment. This is our monitor rack. The QSC amps do a great job and provide good reliability. We have the ability to send 6 individual sends to 6 individual monitors from here. And of course we have another 6 on the stage box if we need to. So if someone comes with a powered wedge or in-ear rig that they don't have a separate mix to, we can send another 6 channels to a dedicated in-ear rig.
Yeah, you just have more outputs, down here.
Correct.
Wonderful, yeah.
Yep. And again, it's all digitally soft patch, so it's easy to make a change on the fly.
Yeah, and then more power there at the bottom for this rack.
And currently we're on generator power. You can see we're slightly in a caution. My experience with this particular firmament is it does run a little hot, so I'm not too concerned about it being in the yellow.
Ooh, more of this stuff.
Okay, so now some more fun toys. So we do have a wireless connection to monitoring our system. So I can do it via hardwired Ethernet or I can do it via Wi-Fi to monitor all the amps using the Crown app to monitor their condition and power and stability of the amplifiers, what their load is. That's also how you make changes, whether you want to make it a sub amp or a mid-range amp. Again, I'm using the the Harman V5 presets for the equipment, so that allows me to eliminate one piece of equipment. Our little switches from each device come back to the switch via one EtherCon, and then they connect into this point here. So all 3 amp racks, not the monitor rack, just the sub, stage left, stage right, all come back to this system to allow me to monitor the performance of all the amplifiers.
Nice.
These are mid-Atlantic panels that allow me to buy individual components.
Oh, that's cool.
And add them as I needed to. So we built these panels in-house. Of course, today you can have them laser engraved and do some cool things, but I built these quite a few years ago, so they're working out quite well.
Nice. Yeah, I know people are going to ask about that.
Yes.
Anything custom, I'll get a comment below asking, where'd you get it? How'd you do it?
Yeah, and again, the advantage of this is I can do this all on my own. So I can change it and modify and adjust it without having to go to anybody else.
Yeah.
So I did that wiring, we did that together ourselves.
Cool. That's a lot of amps.
There's a lot of amps, there's a lot of horsepower.
Sweet.
So a little bit on the stage. This is a Trans-Stage, all aluminum stage. Trans-Stage went out of business many years ago. They're now back in under the name Century, and they are remaking a stage very similar to this. It's 30 feet long by 24 feet deep, folds up into a double A-frame. For outdoor gigs, we do have a canopy we put on the top of it to help provide some protection from the elements. But it's a very friendly, it's a light stage that is all aluminum. Goes up in under an hour if we don't need to put the canopy on. So it's a quick assemble, quick takedown.
Nice.
Carpeting was extra.
Carpeting was extra.
Okay, so this is the other end of the Whirlwind stage fleece, stage box we call it. So we saw that blue cable connected to our stage box rig.
Mm-hmm.
This is the stage drop cable. So we have 2 of these, one for front line and one for the back line.
Cool. And these just disconnect so you can configure them however you need to.
And the notation on here, and we'll show you our patch sheet, this references a specific channel on the console. So I'll show you how we work that all together after we go through this quick demonstration. But this represents a channel. So if someone's come up here to do a mic, if they're pinning the stage and they don't know where it's going, they're going to tell me that's going to the jack C7. And I know on my console, whatever channel I want to put C7 on, that's how I make the assignment. So we'll show you our patch sheet in just a moment. So this is what we affectionately call Monitor Land. This is where we get to hang out when we're not performing on stage. We have all of our stands, and someone has been very nice to label these. I don't think this was...
that was me.
I don't think that was anybody. That might have... Yes, that was definitely you. And it looks great.
Marty and I reorganized them and put them there, and I was like, we're gonna make sure this continues.
I knew that wasn't Marty's handwriting. He looks like he writes with his feet. It's way too neat. So this is what we call the A-Rig workbox. Everything you need to know in here. Everything you need to use is in here. So here's our DIs, tape, which we just use for marking other things. We don't use it for boards anymore. The all-important iPhone adapter to 1/8 inch so we can get audio out of the new iPhones.
Yes.
Church key. This is what's used to put together our applied sciences staging, which we do have a few pieces out here, so that's the church key to put those together. All-important cable tester, because how many times did the band come up to you and say, your cable's not working? And I'm going, un momento, por favor. Let me bring out my Whirlwind cable tester and I'll show you that my cable is just fine. So there you go.
Nice.
All right, so now there's our shorty cables. Again, this was someone else's.
I love the
writing right here.
organization.
So it's pretty well organized.
Yeah.
As long as we remember to put it back in at the end of the night. You know, sometimes those loadouts at 2, 3 a.m. You're not really concerned about doing it neat. You just want to get it away.
I'll still do it neatly.
There you go. So here is our mic box, a variety of microphones, clips, going all the way back to, a Sennheiser brick.
I got a couple of those in the studio.
There you go. Wonderful microphones.
421s.
Yep. To my favorite.
Trusty Dusty.
58.
More dusty than trusty these days?
Probably so.
I'm just kidding.
So. Yep. Some biodynamics, just a whole host of different microphones depending on the use. And for the most part, we have just about every microphone that's needed for the typical venues, events that we're playing. We get a little odd when we're doing a choir. Sometimes merengue bands, which like to use maybe 1 or 2 microphones, or run a semicircle. That gets to be a challenge, in which case then we'll pull out our KSMs for that type of service. But anyway, that's our microphones.
Nice.
Everything you'd ever need to know. And then cables.
The longer stuff.
Yeah, so combination, so we color code these based on, so that's a 30, blue means 20, and so there's a blue. So there's a few 50s in here. So most of my cables are 30s and 20s inside here. I do have a couple of 50s at the bottom. Combination of Whirlwind and Conquest Cable, which was a great cable company here in Chicago based on the south side. And right around the pandemic, they fell in some hard times and unfortunately have gone out of business. But the original Conquest cables I bought in the mid 80s, I still use today and are still working just fine. So unfortunately the company is no longer around, but Conquest Cable was a great cable manufacturer. Whirlwind is my next favorite. A little pricey, but great cable.
Yeah. It's a lot of power in this little tower here.
There is.
Wonderful. And we got a couple, well, this is just a spare wedge. Because we have 6 of them, right?
Correct.
Well, yeah. Sweet. Nice.
Okay, let me move our pen here so we can get it off here. Okay, so when you're doing, 4, 5, 6 bands a day, 15 minutes between set changes, and they're all 5-piece bands, need lots of mics. This tool here is invaluable. And as you can see, it's marked with individual channels. So this is the digital patch that I will assign on the console. They're color coded because the stage fleas from Whirlwind are only 12 channels. So we couldn't quite get a 16 channel mix. And the console themselves are built in increments of 16. So 16 channels per one of those card slots back in our stage.
Yeah, and then we have like 16 channels
across the front. So
on a layer.
If Whirlwind had made their snake 16 channel, it'd be ideal, but it's not, and that's okay. So again, typically every band comes in, kick, snare, hat, tom, overhead, and some combination of thereof. That's our backline stage. Pretty much stays the same way throughout each band. So one member of our team will be assigned to get our patch while the other band is performing. When the second band shows up, usually about 5 minutes before showtime, they'll sit down and get the patch assignment from that band. And then on the back of this sheet, we actually have the stage plot configuration. So if there's any questions about where they're on the stage, I'll know. So the engineer, and typically we'll just take a picture of this. So while I'm pinning the stage, someone will take a picture of this, send it up to me in front of the house so I can start patching my console.
Nice.
And as long as the band members know the difference between upstage, downstage, stage left, stage right, we're good to go. Sometimes you have to re-educate them,
Yeah,
but that's okay. So this little tool here has been invaluable. Again, it saves a lot of time in doing multiple bands when you have quick turnarounds. Just a lot easier to keep everything straight, and you're not, you don't have issues with, well, I have the guitar in channel 2, but I have the bass in channel 3, and you said it was different. This is the goal. We always go off of this.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
I think. So let's see. Some concluding thoughts. So again, this is Kevin from KHill Productions, and Kevin, where can we find KHill online, or can we hire you? Can someone out there talk to you about a gig or an event?
If anybody has any questions, you can. The best way to reach me is via email. It's easier for me to respond. So my email is hill, HILL, .kevin, KEVIN, @comcast.net. We are based in northern Illinois. We travel northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, but we're open to traveling wherever the show fits. We are weekend warriors, as I call it. Most of us have full-time jobs. A lot of us are teachers. Some of us are in audio industry and other aspects of the business. So we're typically just trying to do those events where it's a multi-day festival weekend, not so much the one-off bar event, or maybe even going on tour with someone, since most of us have full-time gigs. Love to answer any questions, comments. I've been doing this for better plus of 35, 40 years now. I did tour professionally back in the late 70s, early 80s with a couple tour companies, SR Audio and R&R and DB Sound. Both DB and SR are out of business right now, but it's a great business, and I just love to chat about it. So any questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Okay.
So I'll put all of Kevin's links down in the comments or the description below. Like Kevin said, let him know if you have any questions about his rig or anything else that I do here on the channel, and we'd be happy to chat with you in the comments. So yeah. Kevin, thanks for showing everybody your rig.
It was my pleasure, and thank you, Evan, for everything you do. We have a great crew. Part of our success is due to the wonderful folks that we work with: Marty, Phil, Matt, Meshi, Imena, Evan, Claudia's dad, Jake, Justin, just a bunch of great guys and gals, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks a lot. Best of luck to you guys, and take care.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Evan. I appreciate it.
All right, until next time. Peace out.